I remembered. Okay. And thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. I'm sure you are all virtual meeting experts by now, but just a few housekeeping items. We are recording tonight's meeting. Everyone is muted upon entry. If you have a question or comment, you can drop those in the chat box or raise your virtual hand using the Zoom toolbar, or you're welcome to unmute yourself and ask that way. We do ask that everyone stay muted when not speaking to help reduce background noise. Okay, my name is Amy Dowis. I am the Regional Planner for the Northwest Missouri Regional Council of Governments. With me tonight are my coworkers, Steve Houtz and Marissa Alvarez, and we're the Regional Council team working on your plan update. SEMA contracted with the Regional Council to facilitate the update to the Holt County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan, and that's why we are all here tonight. The planning process includes 3 public meetings, with tonight being meeting number 2. 2 local committees have been established to help with the plan update. First off is the Planning Committee, and it is comprised of at least 1 representative from all local governments and school districts within Holt County. The second committee is the Special Districts and Stakeholders Committee. A representative from your road districts, fire districts, ambulance district, extension, county health, etc. comprise this committee. Those folks were invited to join us for tonight's meeting. One thing I want to emphasize before we start the presentation is how we collect in-kind match and why that is important. In pretty much every email we send out regarding the hazard mitigation plan update, we try to include a timesheet and timesheet instruction page. Any time you spend talking about the plan with others, filling out surveys or questionnaires, reviewing drafts of the plan, attending meetings, etc. about the plan update, we really need you to record onto a timesheet. If you must travel to attend a meeting, or maybe you need to visit our office for help with a questionnaire, then your mileage as well as your time should be recorded on a timesheet and send that timesheet to me. The more in-kind match we can log, the less out-of-pocket money the county will be responsible to pay in cash match for the plan update. Since most of you are probably joining us tonight from your home or the office, if there is a significant other on the couch beside you or a coworker nearby that can see or hear the presentation, have them fill out a timesheet too, please. Our goal is to collect at least 265 hours or $6,500 of in-kind match to cover the updates match requirement. As of today, Holt County is at 41% of that match goal. Ideally, we would like to be around 67% because this meeting means we're 2/3 of the way through the update process. So this is what a timesheet looks like. We put the month, the year, the date, the service performed, which would be attending a meeting or filling out a data questionnaire, how many hours it took. If you have any mileage, you can record it there. Jurisdiction, that's going to be Holt County or Village of Big Lake or City of Oregon, whatever. And then you put your name, you're the volunteer, so write your name and then your title and make sure you sign it. Signing it's the big thing. If you sign it, I can fill out the rest of it if I have to. So that's kind of what a completed timesheet should look like. We do ask that if you're an elected official, please do not put that down as your title. If you're also a business owner or farmer or landowner, etc., we ask that you put that instead. The rules do not allow time of elected officials serving in that capacity to be counted for in-kind match. A final note about timesheets. We ask that you round up when completing them. For example, if our meeting tonight lasts 48 minutes, you can go ahead and put down an hour. Does anyone have any questions about timesheets or anything we've talked about so far? If so, you can mute yourself or type in the chat. Unmute yourself or type in the chat. Steve has created a page on our website dedicated to the Holt County Hazard Mitigation Plan update planning process. This will serve as a one-stop shop for all the documents, forms, links to surveys, questionnaires, etc. We will drop the link in the chat and it will be included in our meeting recap follow-up email as well. Marissa, will you drop that in the chat, please? Thank you. Just a real quick kind of update on where we're at as far as getting things back from the jurisdictions or schools. If you are a jurisdiction or school and you have not returned your signed MOU, please do that as soon as possible. This is how we know what jurisdictions and schools are plan participants. We've sent this out probably 3 times now, but if you have not received an MOU and letter from us, let me know. You can drop it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, or you can reach out to me after the meeting and I will get that, try to resend it or send it another way so that you get that. So we have not received signed MOUs from the Village of Bigelow, Town of Corning, Town of Fortescue, and Holt County. Data collections questionnaires were sent out to each jurisdiction back in March. We're still waiting for these from Big Lake, Bigelow, Corning, Craig, Forest City, and Fortescue. We also sent out action status worksheets and haven't received those back from Big Lake, Bigelow, Corning, Craig, Forest City, Fortescue, and Oregon. Are there any questions about what we've received, what we haven't received so far?
Did you say you didn't receive the MOU from Holt?
No, I said in Holt County. In. So I have it from Holt County, just I don't have MOUs from Bigelow, Corning, and Fortescue.
Okay, I thought you said in Holt County.
No, sorry.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say I think we sent that to you.
Yep, we've got
Okay.
it.
Right,
We're all good there. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, anyone else?
You might want to switch back from the timesheet to the PowerPoint so they can see your list.
I don't have that yet.
Oh, okay. I thought that had that on the, my mistake. I was thinking it was on the, I thought it was in the PowerPoint. Never mind.
That's okay. Okay, any other questions? If not, I'm going to start the presentation. If I can get it on the right screen. We'll try this again. Okay, can you guys see it?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So the purpose of today's meeting, we'll have a brief review from kind of what we discussed at our first meeting. We'll go over the public survey update. We'll discuss participation requirements and status of that, plan update format, results of the risk assessment. We'll update mitigation goals, discuss mitigation action updates, and we'll discuss the next steps in the planning process. So just as a quick recap, the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 requires local governments to adopt a natural hazard mitigation plan to maintain eligibility for FEMA hazard mitigation assistance funds. This plan update is for a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan covering the unincorporated county, participating incorporated cities, and public school districts. So the task 4, 5, and 6 that are in the yellow are kind of the ones that we're working on now. Review community capabilities, conduct a risk assessment, and develop a mitigation strategy. 7, 8, and 9 will take place in the 3rd meeting. So here's an update on your public survey. We've had 30 responses so far. That's great. So 30 people have completed the public survey. It's still open. It will remain open through July 30th. We'll send out the link to this again with our meeting recap email, but we've put articles in your newspapers. We've asked your jurisdictions to post the link on their websites, their social media pages, Facebook pages, or whatever to help us get the word out. So we're pretty excited with the 30 surveys that we've got back so far. Requirements for each participating jurisdiction. Each jurisdiction should designate a representative to serve on the Hazard Mitigation Planning Committee. That committee will meet 3 times. This is meeting number 2. Provide data for and assist in the development of the updated risk assessment. Provide data to describe current capabilities. Develop, update mitigation actions, at least 1 specific to your jurisdiction. Provide comments on plan drafts as requested. Inform the public, local officials, and other interested parties about the planning process and provide opportunities for them to comment on the plan. And lastly, formally adopt the mitigation plan. So here is a status chart. It has the meeting attendance for meeting number 1 and who has turned in their data collection questionnaire. So we've got a lot of blank spots there, and they must attend at least 1 meeting to be a planned participant. So hopefully whoever we don't catch tonight will be able to catch at meeting 3. Does anyone have any questions about this chart?
Why do we have Gentry County on there?
I don't know. I suppose because we made a mistake.
I was just kidding. No, I was just having fun, Amy.
I'm going to have to send you things to proofread before the meetings. Any other questions? All right. So,
I have a question, Amy.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Can you go back to that?
I sure can, I think. Yes.
So I've been helping some of these folks, or trying to, but there's 2 or 3 of them that are really overwhelmed. They just don't have a clue where to start.
Okay.
And like Bigelow, there was no back data that we could go off of. And you know, John has no idea where to even start looking. So I don't know how we're going to do.
Okay. I think they weren't a plan participant last time, so we can't go back to the last plan like we can with the others. How about if we try to figure that out when we have our meeting June 1st? Maybe we can come up with a way to get that accomplished or help them get that accomplished.
Yeah, I told him we could get together and try to work through it, but he doesn't know where to look for,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
those answers. So.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for the ones who haven't been plan participants before. It'll be starting from scratch, but we'll get it figured out. And
then I think like Craig, you know, there's new people up there,
right.
so you're going to have the same situation where they don't know where to look.
Sure. So do you know who their mayor is? Have they?
Tom or David may know. I don't know.
Okay. Last I knew, it was still kind of up in the air.
Diana Jones is the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Diana Jones. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think this is where I'm going to turn it over to Steve to go over the risk assessment.
Okay, thanks, Amy. Since this is an update, there's quite a bit of the information that we're just able to put in from the last plan update into this one. But I'll see if I can get my version of the PowerPoint working here. And let's see. All right. Do I have the right slide?
You do not.
Every time, you know.
I know. Deja vu.
Right. It's always the swip, swip, swap, swap. That should be it, right?
Nope.
Oh, well, it switched, but all right, I'll try one more time. How many times do I swap this? Did that make any difference, or am I just going?
Nothing yet, Steve.
Huh. Well, it's swapping on my end, but it's not working here. Okay, let me try it again. Are we even seeing my screen at all?
No, see a
no.
good picture of you.
Oh, okay. So that's the problem. Okay.
There
All
you
right,
go.
there you go.
Yeah. You know.
You got it.
Even the right view, even, right? Okay. So the first, well, it seems like I'm a slide or two ahead, though. Let's go back a little bit here. Okay, so chapter 3 of this update to the Holt County Hazard Mitigation Plan includes these sections that were pretty much established by FEMA and SEMA, and we use a template that they provide to us to fill this out. The risk assessment that we do for you, I don't know if you haven't ever had a chance to look for you. It really does have a lot of information in it. I, learned a lot of things about the counties that I didn't know about before, and there's some interesting things in there about how often some of these hazards, these natural storms and so forth occur in everyone's neck of the woods. So these are the things that you should be looking through as you look through that risk assessment for us to help us help you. Pay attention to the problem statement at the end. Try to summarize up that particular hazard, and to let you have some ideas and some actions that you might take, or at least get you thinking about some of those that you could take to minimize these risks to these hazards. So that's what we want you to use this document for. And again, it's on our website. It ends up being a pretty lengthy document. You might want to just view it on your browser instead of trying to download it, because it is a draft, and it will be have more information put in there, especially any more information that you provide to us.
Could I ask you a question? This
Sure
is
can.
Carla. On minimizing our risk on some of these things that happen, I'm just going to use this for example because we're working on it. We're wanting a federal levy to minimize our flooding risk and everything. Is that what you're wanting in this?
What you're going to do, and Marissa will be talking about it in a minute, is that you put these, you make an action that you think will help. I mean, it's kind of like the actions, I like to think of them as like possibilities, or, wishes, or whatever that you would like to do that you think that are feasible. And so you put those in there, and if they're in this plan, then that makes them eligible if we can find the money and the forces to be that will make it happen. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, that helps me. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes people have been reluctant to put actions into the plan because they think, oh, then we have to do that. That's not the case. These are things that you would like to happen, and sometimes you can't get the funding to make them happen, or the regulations don't work your way to make them happen, and or they don't understand the way you see it, that that's the way to solve the problem. But anyway, don't hold back on your dreams, I guess, so to speak, of how to minimize these risks. And speaking of the risk and hazards, these are the ones that are listed in the 2018 update to the state plan, and we mirror them into your plan with the exception of landslides and sinkholes. They do let us take that one out since we haven't had any examples of that or any hazards reported. If anybody has anything that's happened with that, it can be added if people want it to be added, if the committee wants that to happen. So I'll go through briefly through the hazards that were approved to put in the plan at the last meeting. Flooding, of course, is the big one, and it takes a lot of pages in this risk assessment. We have it, it's about a 25% chance there's going to be some kind of event in your county every year. And since 2000, we have down, the 16 flash flood events besides those major riverine flooding events that have happened in the Missouri River floodplain there. We've got over 72 million in crop insurance claims. So as far as money goes, this and it's the next one, of course, related to it, the levee failure, are the big ones to think about. And that's what you were talking about, trying to get the levees in better shape or additional ones to protect. Levee failure didn't used to be included as a separate item, but they do now, and so it is in there. Got some of the information here, and I get this from the Corps of Engineers site. I mean, they're the ones that put these figures about how much value is in each one of those drainage or levee districts and so forth. So there's quite a bit of real estate and quite a bit of infrastructure at risk from these failures. So we do want to get some actions in there and hopefully get some action from having those actions to help try to prevent this from happening so often. Another hazard to consider is dam failure. We do have some high risk dams in Holt County. These are the structures and the value of items that are in what they call the inundation zones that are below these dams. If they would happen to have a catastrophic failure, there's no history of this. The only thing is that these dams, some of them are getting some age on them, and we don't have a very good record. I mean, a very good history of keeping them inspected regularly. So that could be something that you'd want to look at if you needed to put some more teeth into trying to do something about the risk from the dams failing. Earthquake sure, go ahead.
This is Carla again. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I keep.
No, that's what we're
okay.
here for.
I have asked probably for a few years now for the Corps to give me a plan on those dams, 1, 2, 3, how many ever would fail, and the volume of water that possibly, now this has to be estimated on some of this because of the rainfall, but if one of those dams would fail or if 2 of them, I have requested but never have received anything telling me how long it would be in accordance to whatever dam, or if it was all of them or what, of how much time we would have in Holt County to get our population out. And I think that's something that would be valuable to the sheriff's office and to the courthouse, and where we would have some idea and the routes to take out of the county in a catastrophe.
Right. They do have what they call inundation maps on some high risk dams that you can get. I will, off the top of my head, I can't tell you if I have any of those available. I also did this workshop where I can do a simulation of a particular dam. So maybe I should, email you separately. I'll get your email or from Amy or whatever and email you separately the information that I have, if that would be of use for you to try to get a better handle on that. If you are able to get those maps, they do show like where the crest is supposed to be at like every half hour, where the water is supposed to be, where it'll be at, and how wide they think it is based on the topography and things like that. So Um, yeah, I can't pull that off the top of my head here, but I could get something ready for you again. Could send you that information.
I would appreciate that. And I'm not a professional at this or anything else, but I'm thinking if you start with the lower dam and just add a dam to each scenario, that might give us what we need at any time when we'd have to pick if what dam it was, or if it was 2 dams, 3 dams, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But you'd have to do this scenario with starting with the first one at Gavin's and then add going up.
Okay. Yeah, and what I was thinking about was just those located in Holt, but yes, that is, of course, all those upstream, upriver dams. That would be, yes, the size of those and the amount of water they have. I'm glad for that clarification. Yeah, that's a little bit different animal to get that information.
It is.
Yeah, I see.
I mean, we're familiar with Holt County, and if
Right.
something would happen to Atchison, but we are not familiar with the large devastation and the timing and the velocity of the water coming.
Right. Yeah.
So,
that would take.
okay.
Yeah, that would take a specialist to get you that, and you would.
And I've requested it more
Right.
than once, but I have not
Okay.
received anything yet.
Okay. I'll.
There is a guy in Omaha that would do it, but it costs money, and Holt County doesn't have the money to put out for that, for just us.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Just here saying that that's one thing that you could put an action in here that you want to create a study, of these dam failures and their effect or whatever. And then that might give you some grant money to pay for that study, or to get, the people, to pay, to do that. So that is a possibility too that you might be able to consider. All right.
Thanks.
Sure. Really don't have to worry about earthquakes too much in Holt County. They just, you're not really close enough. I mean, the fault in southeast Missouri is the big one that could cause potential damage to a lot of the state, but they're not thinking it would get that far up here. There is the Nemaha fault out in Nebraska, Kansas, that has caused some shaking. This map here that I pulled up is because of the Missouri River bottom there. The soil is different, and it's prone to what they call liquefaction, which it kind of changes if you do shaking in an earthquake. It kind of makes it changes. The soil kind of acts like becomes more rubber-like or whatever, enhances the shaking. So it could be more devastating in that area to, like the roads and the railroad and so forth, any structures that are out there, if there would be a substantial earthquake that would occur. But again, the risk is pretty minimal. Drought is certainly not a stranger to Holt County. This graph, which I know is very small, it goes from 2000 over here at this, or I guess over here at this edge over, and I think it goes up to the end of the year here. And the darker the color red is, the more severe the drought is. So there was a significant time in 2003 and 2004. And of course, in 2012, there was a significant, into 2013, significant drought period. So the main thing about drought is the crop damage and also the water supply. So encouraging farmers to participate in the insurance programs, crop insurance programs, and also worrying about interconnecting water systems and making sure that you can provide water in times of drought to all the communities. Extreme temperatures, they've combined excessive heat and extreme cold together into this hazard now. The vulnerable populations are the elderly and the very young. You do have a sizable population that are 65 years and older in Holt County. You just need to have some things like this is a sample problem statement from your risk assessment. It states all jurisdictions within the county are equally susceptible to damage stemming from an extreme temperature event, as these types of events tend to be regional in nature. The large percentage of residents that are over 65 years of age means that many are at risk during extreme heat events. The rural nature of the county does work in its favor, as statistically more deaths occur in urban areas during a heat wave, and that is borne out that there hasn't been any reports of death from this as there are in the cities. Things you might consider is making sure you have centers for where there can be either cooling and heating events or warming centers in extreme cold events that have generator backups in case there's a power outage. That would be one step you could take towards mitigating this hazard. Going on to the next hazard, severe thunderstorms. The state plan had some information here saying that maybe there's close to $35,000 in property damage from thunderstorm losses, hailstorms, windstorms, so forth, and almost $116,500 paid out in crop insurance. And again, we should be maybe prepared for more of these events. The way the weather systems have been working, you might think about constructions of safe rooms. I mean, I know these things are expensive to build, but there are grant funds for that at least would help pay for the part of the cost. And I know there's been some structures built at parks or public spaces, making the restrooms into, storm safe rooms, so that if people are caught out in the public, that they could go into those public restrooms and be safe from storms if they were caught in the area and they couldn't get to where they needed to be protected. Next hazard in their risk assessment is your severe winter weather. Mainly this affects the county in the form of an ice storm. The state estimates that you've got $622,000 plus in, $1 million plus in buildings exposed out there. So that's basically everything in the county. They say that about almost 1.5 of these occur every year. So 3 every 2 years or so, and $40,000 every year on those. It's kind of hard to harden your infrastructure against some of these things. I know some of the utilities have started replacing some of their poles and wiring and so forth around some of the areas in Northwest Missouri, and that's about the best thing you can do, is to encourage to make things the best you can to try to prevent the damage from occurring in the first place. Tornadoes, of course, are very scary storms, can be deadly. They are pretty rare in the county, only about a 20% chance of a storm occurring, and we've been fortunate that those have been the weaker storms that have occurred for the county. I think last time we did, or in between our last update, we did put in something in the schools about possibly doing safe rooms if the money and the school was building something that they could, hook together to get the funding. So I think that's already your plan. Again, there's that option of trying to put something in public places. So like when you're having, I don't know, county fairs or something where you have large groups of people gathering, that you might have some place where people could safely go in an emergency that might arise if it's feasible to do. Again, I've got in there, of course, about the mobile homes, that there always seem to be at more risk because of the way they're built. The last hazard that I have to talk about tonight is wildfire. The state estimates 342 residents are in areas of Holt County that are more likely to be at risk from these out of control grass fires, basically, or fires that get into the timbered areas of the county. It says there's 163 residential structures there. Again, this is just a little bit of common sense. I mean, some states have to go and counties have to go so far as, making ordinances about where people can build and so forth. But I mean, this is up to the county and to decide what's the best way to do this. Probably just to make sure that your fire departments and those that have to respond to these events are well equipped and can handle that, along with your warning systems to make sure that people can flee the area or, get out of the way of an out of control grass fire. So that's all the hazards that I have in the plan, your plan. And again, we've got the link up here. If you go to our website, there's a link that you can go to your page, and the risk assessment is there for you to look at. It's got lots of information in there, and we're going to be putting more in there. It is just a draft, so I don't recommend downloading and printing it yet, but you can look on it online and get a good idea of what is there. Email these comments back to Amy. If anybody has any more questions at this time, or email them to Amy and she can get them to me, and we'll get them put into the plan the best we can.
All right, my turn. Here we go. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So after the kickoff meeting, we sent out data questionnaires to each jurisdiction. And on the last few pages of those questionnaires, there is a mitigation action item assessment table. That table assesses action items that are specific, which are specific measures we take to reduce loss within your jurisdiction in the event of a hazard. We will talk more about this later, but it is a key part in evaluating progress since the last plan update. So before we can get into the assessment of these action items, we first need an understanding of the difference between goals and actions. So goals are used to describe what you want to accomplish with the hazard mitigation plan. On the other hand, actions are specific activities you will do to accomplish these goals. So here's an example. So this goal is actually one that is in your current hazard mitigation plan. And so it states, protect the lives, property, and livelihoods of all citizens. Underneath that, there is a sub-goal that is labeled 1.3, and this goal, or the sub-goal, states, increase knowledge of natural hazards among the general public and in the present and future. So the action that goes along with this and fits for both of these, the goal and the sub-goal, is action 1.3.2, which states, provide emergency preparedness information and resources related to all natural disasters to the public through activities or through active education and outreach programs, coordinating with community partners. So As you can see, this action fits under both the sub-goal and the goal. Amy sent out an email, an Excel sheet that has all of the actions in your current hazard mitigation plan, as well as what sub-goal and what goal it relates to. So if you want to find that Excel sheet, you can look at that at your own convenience. And it's just there to give you some knowledge of how we create these actions. So now we will discuss updating the hazard mitigation plan goals. Okay, so these are the 4 common categories used when designing goals for your plan. The types of actions that can fit under these goals include educating the public on hazards and how they can protect themselves. This can be done through handouts, through public presentations, etc. Another action would be implementing policies, plans, trainings, ordinances, etc., to reduce loss of life when a hazard hits. And another action would be like updating critical facilities or creating emergency plans for essential facilities, etc. So these are the types of actions that can fit under these goal categories. So these 4 goals are from the 2018 Missouri State Hazard Mitigation Plan. And as you can see, some of these goals do fit under the categories from the previous slide. For example, Goal 1, which states implement mitigation actions that improve the protection of human life, health, and safety from the adverse effects of disasters. That fits under the category of reduced risk and life and reduced risk to life and property. Another example is Goal 3, which states implement mitigation actions that improve the protection of public and private property from the adverse effects of disasters. And that fits under the category of protection of critical and essential facilities. So this is something, these are the types of goals that we are looking for, or this is kind of just like a base understanding of what the FEMA wants out of your goals. These are ours are yours from your current plan. So now is the time to look over your goals from the current plan and decide if you want to revise them or leave them as is. If you wish to alter these goals in any way, now is the time to do so. You can either unmute if you wish to speak, or you can type in chat. And so we can just go over these right now. These are good goals, in my opinion. I feel like these state exactly what you would like. But if there's a way you would like to alter them, please let me know. And if not, we can move on. Okay, so as I stated previously, on the last few pages of those data questionnaires we sent out, there is a mitigation action item assessment table. That table is how we evaluate our mitigation actions and decide if we want to keep, modify, or remove the action from the plan. So I will now be going over that assessment tracker. But first, I would like to do a quick reminder. This is just a quick reminder about that only Holt County, Maitland, Mound City, and that's it, have returned their action item assessments. So please get those into us so we can update the plan. And I'm available to help fill those out if you do need assistance, and I will be walking you through how to fill it out in one of the following slides. Actually, I'll be walking you through it now. So this is a picture of the assessment table in your data questionnaire. In this table, it lists the action items, the status of those action items, and a place to comment on the progress of implementing the actions. And lastly, a section on if you would like to keep, delete, or modify that action. So I'll kind of explain how to fill it out. So we can zoom in a little bit. I just found this, I figured out how to do this on the last PowerPoint we did. So on the left-hand side, you have your action number, and then you have the action in full writing. So number 1 is, or 1.1.1 is maintain and expand as needed or able the distribution methods of severe weather alerts to the general public. So say you feel like you've completed this action, you've been able to distribute different methods for severe weather alerts. You can say that you completed it, and so then therefore you would like to remove it from your action items. If you do complete it, please provide information on when you had designated this action item as complete, or how much funding was used to complete this action. If you're still in the process of doing this, then you can mark it as ongoing, or if you haven't done anything at all, it's completely okay to mark it as no progress. Just be sure to leave a comment of what you're doing or what's been happening to this action, so we know what we can say in the plan update. And then lastly, on the right-hand side, there is an option for you to mark it as you'd like to keep this action, delete it, or modify it. Okay. So when assessing your mitigation actions, here are some things to know. And again, I just kind of covered this quickly. If you have designated an action item as completed, please provide a date for or any funding amount used if possible. For actions you want to keep, please provide details on the progress of the action item or how you plan to initiate progress. For actions you want to keep but modify, please provide details on what changes to the actions you would like to have made. And lastly, for actions you would like to delete, please provide a reason for the deletion. So please be mindful of whether the actions are response actions or mitigation actions. So mitigation actions are those that happen before a disaster, where response actions happen after the event of a disaster. This is a hazard mitigation plan, so we're looking at before. And yes, okay. So these actions should be SMART, which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. FEMA has been really picky about these actions recently. In the last plan we updated, they deemed that a lot of the action items weren't under the SMART standards. So I know that we will be needing to modify a lot of our actions this time around in order to fit with FEMA's modified standards. Please make sure that you have your action assessments turned into me by June 25th. You can email those to Amy and she will send those my way. Okay, so before we go on, this is an example of the action worksheet. If you have filled out the action item assessment, then some of the information you provided will already be on the worksheet. We plan to send this out this week and we will schedule a time to assist you in completing it if you need help. Instructions will be provided and areas that you need to fill out will be highlighted. So as you can see in the bottom, under the progress report, you have action status and the report of the progress. That stuff, that is information that you will provide to us through your action item assessment. And that is why it is important that you complete this. And like I said, hold on, I lost that, my bad. So like I said, we will help you fill this out and I will have instructions on all of these and I will have I'll have the items that you need to complete highlighted so you know where you need to write things. Okay, so at the third meeting, we will focus on creating new mitigation actions. For now, we're just working on assessing the actions we have. When looking over the risk assessment draft, think about what type of new mitigation actions you can implement to reduce loss. You can write them down when you think about them and save them for the third meeting. You can email them to us and we can save them. But just if you have those, it's important to get them down now. And so you're not trying to think right away on the third meeting, because then we won't get a lot of progress done. And then as a reminder, each jurisdiction needs at least one mitigation action. And if your community participates in the National Flood Insurance Program, then you must have an additional action that relates to reducing loss and damages from a flood. And that is it from me. I will stop sharing now.
All right, am I on the right screen? Can you see my next steps?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. we're almost done, I promise. Next steps in this process, the risk assessment comment period ends June 25th, and that's when the action status worksheets are due back to us. All mitigation forms, new and continuing, are due by July 1st. Right now, we've got the final meeting, which includes updating and developing mitigation actions, scheduled for July 26th. But I wanted to talk to you guys and see what your thoughts are. Is the virtual meeting working for you? Do you want to try to do the last one in person? You can unmute, you can type in the chat, you can talk to me later if you don't want to talk about it now, but we do want to see what your guys' thoughts are about the way we do the last meeting.
This is Carla, and I would soon be in person,
Okay,
but I may be the only one. So
okay. All right. Anyone else have any thoughts? Okay, I'm gonna keep going then. And you can, like I said, unmute at any time or type in the chat. The first draft will be sent out to the committee, the planning committee and the stakeholder committee by September 1st. The public comment period will be September 10th through October 10th. The month of September will need to get adoption resolutions signed from all the jurisdictions. And then by October 14th, we will be submitting this draft to SEMA, and it must have the signed adoption resolutions included at that time. And then by March of 2022, we anticipate FEMA's approval. So that's kind of the outline of what's going to be going on for the next few months on our end. Does anybody have any questions? Homework. Everybody loves a little homework, right? We need you to fill out a timesheet for your time spent at the meeting. If you call us with questions, that can go on a timesheet. Really anything pertaining to the plan, anytime can go on a timesheet. We have a meeting with Marcus on June 1st, and we hope to have a plan in place by then to try to get the missing documents from the jurisdictions, whether that means we assign them a 30-minute Zoom time or conference call time, or we have them come to our office, whatever. We're going to try to get all this gathered so we can keep writing the plan. We don't want to get behind on the writing part of it. So again, completed action status worksheets we need by June 25th, and the mitigation action forms by July 1st. Please, please, please call or email us if we can help with any of this stuff. That's kind of what we're here for. And we're kind of getting to the point where we need all these forms to be able to keep writing. So, and then just because the timesheets are so darn important, here's the timesheet. Again, just one more reminder, send in your timesheets, make sure they're signed. That's all that we have for tonight. We're gonna hang out on here for the next 5 minutes or so. If anybody has any questions, you wanna hang on, ask questions when there's a smaller group of people, or if you wanna talk about the next meeting, or if you wanna talk about some action items, any of that stuff, more than welcome to do so. But otherwise, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here with us tonight. And don't forget to reach out if we can help you with anything.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I do have one question. So I was contacted by, and it's a smaller district, it's the Cannon Drainage District. And I don't think they're listed as a stakeholder in your information, but they called and said that they would give us whatever we need. You know, they want to be in compliance. So
they're on the stakeholder list. I talked to Dana Friday.
oh, you did talk to her. Okay, good.
Yep. I talked to her for quite a while Friday.
Okay.
And she was just kind of confused about why she was getting the emails, and
Okay.
wanted to make sure that the areas around them were in compliance so that they were covered as well. You know, she was asking about Big Lake and Craig and Holt County unincorporated, want to make sure everything that would pertain to them had been taken care of. So I gave her your contact information in case she had any questions about the unincorporated part.
Okay.
So
Amy, was there a levy 15 on there? Sorry.
Let me see. You're okay. I just put that away. Hold on.
I'm trying to think if all those were on there or not, because it seemed like we might be missing a couple, but
Can we
I could
see
be
that?
wrong.
I've
Can we
got
see
big-
the whole list again, please?
Oh, sure. Let me find it. I know I've got Big Tarkio, Cannon, Corning, Levy District 9, 10, 15, Union Township, Levy District. Those are the levy districts. Let me see if I can find it on here to show it.
Amy, this is Boris Heitman. I'm with Corning Levy District and in attendance this evening. My computer, I was unable, realized after a power loss that it wasn't functioning, so had to get on the call rather than being online. So complete a timesheet when I get this thing tomorrow.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Uh-huh. I'm glad you were able to call in and join us.
Me too. Thanks.
Be sure to write your time down.
Gotcha. 7 hours.
You
Trying to get-
got it.
That'll work. And now you're getting the idea.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I found it. It won't let me minimize the Zoom because we're recording, so I'm having to go in the back way here. Okay. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what we've got for the stakeholders, special districts.
Is that the same list that you had up a while ago on the PowerPoint?
No, that was jurisdictions. This
Oh,
is special.
okay,
districts.
okay.
And I didn't show you the one with the contacts updated. I couldn't find it. It must be on the server and I can't get to it through without minimizing my screen.
Okay.
So these are the stakeholders though in that first column
Gotcha.
A
Okay.
for the special districts. But you were asking about levy district 15 and they are on there.
Okay.
We
And
also have a levy district 14. It's not on there.
Uh-oh.
Oh, is that little one
Yes, by
by
40 skew.
Maitland?
No, by 40 skew.
Oh, okay. That's not the one I'm thinking of. Okay.
It must not have been in the last update because that's where we got the list. We'll get them at. Do you know who a contact would be, Tom?
Yeah, Rick Gillenwater. Just a minute, I can give you a phone number.
Okay.
I wonder if Rhonda is still with the Northwest Holt fire since she no longer lives in Craig.
You know, I don't know if she is or not. I got a phone number for Rick Gillenwater for levy 14.
Okay.
It's 816-244-7511.
Okay. Thank you.
Also, Amy, on the
Yes.
Corning Special Road District, Russell Grundle passed away. And
Oh, yes.
I think, Tom, she probably should have Mike Wright on there, don't you?
I think so too, yeah.
Mike.
WRIGHT.
Okay. Do you have an email or phone number?
Yeah, I have a phone number for Mike Wright. Hang on.
Okay.
Tom has them all.
I know Mike well. All right, Mike Wright's number is 660-253-0182.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else we're missing? Of course, as soon as you make these lists, then they're outdated, you know?
Yeah. We hope not for a while.
Right. Okay, so what else? Any questions about these actions? I think we're probably just gonna have to do individual meetings with most of these jurisdictions to get this accomplished. And
You're right.
what we'll try to do is have Marcus, whether it's a call or a Zoom or a come to our office, we'll try to have Marcus in there because that way we get time. You don't get our time doesn't count. So if we have Marcus and a mayor or somebody from each community, even if it's a 30-minute Zoom to get them started and headed in the right direction, it's going to get it accomplished and get us some match. So anything that we schedule, we'll try to get Marcus in on
Yeah.
as well.
A couple of those, Amy, I'm actually going to go to them
Okay.
and try to just sit down with them, and that might spur them to get done.
Yeah, we are going to look and see. We're going to go back. Of course, 17 is the current plan that we're in now. We're going to see if we can find if there's a plan update in our records from before that, and see if some of those jurisdictions that weren't in 17 were in
For
or whatever, and see if we can find a starting point for those actions and things like that. So I don't know if they'll be in there. I would guess probably not, but it's worth taking some time and digging through it to see in case we get lucky and they were in there back then.
then it could just be updating their goals and,
Mhm.
and strategies that way.
Yep. Yep. So we have archives and old binders and stuff like that. So hopefully we can find it if we did them. Like I said, if we did them back that far, which I'm finding 2013 for Nottaway on our server. So there's surely a 2012 for Holt somewhere.
Yeah, I want to say there's a 2009, I think, too, somewhere.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, if you don't have any questions or anything like that for us, I think we're going to let y'all go. Thank you again.
All right, thank you.
We'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks.
Thank you all.
Marcus, you have something else?
What'd you say?
Did you have something else? You looked like you did.
Oh, no, I was just saying thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Okay, I'll have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
Okay, bye-bye.